Hello, you're watching the English News Bulletin on QPVN channel. I'm Nguyen, and now let me keep you up to date with the headlines. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính meets leaders of other nations at UNOC 3. Conference held to hand over position of Hanoi Capital Command Chief. Pho, the soul of Vietnam, simmering Reup. On June the 10th, meeting artisans from 5,400 traditional craft villages and the Vietnam Craft Villages Association, President Lương Cường congratulated the association on its 20th anniversary. He praised their tireless work in preserving traditional craft, enriching national culture, driving socio-economic growth, and contributing to the new rural construction movement. The president stated that Vietnam is preparing to enter a new era, an era of wealth and prosperity. In this process, the handicraft sector is facing fierce competition. Many traditional craft villages still face numerous challenges and limitations in production and business activities. The president called on the artisans to continue serving as the core force in preserving and developing craft villages, inspiring creativity and dedicating themselves to maintaining and promoting the precious traditional cultural values of the nation. He also urged all levels of government, sectors, and the Vietnam Craft Villages Association to strengthen vocational training efforts, foster entrepreneurial spirit among young workers in rural areas, and improve the material and spiritual well-being of people living in craft villages. On June the 9th local time, during his attendance at the 3rd United Nations Ocean Conference, or UNOC 3 for short, in Nice, France, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính held bilateral meetings with leaders of several nations to strengthen and expand cooperative relations. During the meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron, the leaders highlighted the strong development of the Vietnam-France Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính urged France to support Vietnam in diversifying markets, supply chains, and products, swiftly ratify the EVIPA, and lift the IUU yellow card on Vietnamese seafood. Both sides agreed to foster cooperation in security, energy transition, climate change response, healthcare, and high-tech sectors. They also reaffirmed commitments to peace, stability, and freedom of navigation in the East Sea under international law, particularly the 1982 UN Clause. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính invited France to join the UN Cybercrime Convention signing in Hanoi this October. During the meeting with Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis, both sides celebrated 50 years of diplomatic ties and agreed to deepen economic and trade cooperation under the EVFTA. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính proposed partnerships in agriculture, food security, and maritime fleet development, along with a potential visa exemption agreement. The Greek Prime Minister welcomed the idea of receiving skilled Vietnamese workers and opening direct flights. Vietnam also urged Greece to support EVIPA ratification and remove the IUU yellow card. Both leaders reaffirmed cooperation at multilateral forums, commitment to the UN Charter, 1982 UN Clause, and maritime security. During the meeting with Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, the two leaders pledged to implement the EVFTA and financial cooperation protocol effectively, aiming to exceed $8 billion in bilateral trade. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính proposed Spain support EVIPA ratification, remove the IUU yellow card, and cooperate on railway development, technology transfer, and training. Prime Minister Sanchez affirmed Spain's willingness to share high-speed railway expertise and invited Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính to the 4th high-level conference on financing for development. Both leaders stressed maintaining peace, stability, and maritime freedom in the East Sea under the international law and the 1982 UN Clause. Concluding the 46th session of the National Assembly Standing Committee on the afternoon of June the 10th, National Assembly Chairman MINH emphasized that the session successfully completed its entire agenda, meeting both the required schedule and quality standards. With 39 discussion topics and 5 documents reviewed, this session covered a substantial workload, addressing both urgent and long-term strategic issues. Several emerging matters were also included, requiring timely resolution and submission to the National Assembly for early approval. These efforts aimed to promptly institutionalize major party policies while addressing pressing practical challenges. The National Assembly chairman called on relevant agencies to maintain a high sense of responsibility, stay proactive, and closely coordinate efforts. He urged them to align with reality and ensure the thorough preparation of materials and proposals for the National Assembly Standing Committee and the National Assembly. This ensures that decisions are made in a timely, accurate, and convincing manner, contributing to the success of the 9th session of the 15th National Assembly. The National Assembly chairman underscored the importance of making every policy impactful and meaningful to the public, driving fast and sustainable national development. Also on June the 10th, General Phan Van Giang, Minister of National Defense and Secretary of Hanoi Municipal Party Committee Bùi Thị Minh Hoài, who is also Secretary of the Military Party Committee of the Hanoi Capital Command, jointly chaired a conference to hand over the position of Commander of Hanoi Capital Command. The event was attended by leaders of Hanoi People's Committee, the General Staff, and the General Political Department of the Vietnam People's Army. Following decision number 193 by the Minister of National Defense, Lieutenant General Nguyễn Quốc Duyệt handed over his commanding duties at Hanoi Capital Command to Major General Đào Văn Nhận, Deputy Commander and Chief of Staff of Hanoi Capital Command. Lieutenant General Nguyễn Quốc Duyệt has been appointed Chief Inspector of the Ministry of National Defense. General Phan Van Giang congratulated both officers and emphasized that their appointments demonstrate confidence from Hanoi's leadership and the Ministry of National Defense. He directed Major General Đào Văn Nhận to continue building on the capital's armed forces achievements while maintaining firm situational awareness and providing timely advice to the city's leadership concerning military and defense matters. He stressed the effective implementation of Resolution number 8 of the Party Central Committee on National Defense Strategy, particularly during the current governmental streamlining reforms. Secretary of Hanoi Municipal Party Committee Bùi Thị Minh Hoài commended Hanoi's armed forces achievements and noted that the two-tier local government structure presents new challenges for local military and defense work. She emphasized that Hanoi Capital Command must proactively monitor local situations, advise the city's leadership, and strengthen comprehensive national defense posture while building an increasingly solid municipal defensive area. General Nguyễn Tân Cương, Chief of the General Staff of the Vietnam People's Army and Deputy Defense Minister, on June the 10th, chaired a conference of the Steering Committee on the 80th founding anniversary celebration of the General Staff, September the 7th. Following the plans and decisions on organizing activities to celebrate the 80th founding anniversary of the General Staff, the organizing committee proactively met and worked with the People's Committee of Thái Nguyên Province, Military Region 1 Command, Military Region 7 Command, and the Hanoi Capital Command, while directing agencies and units to promptly implement the assigned task, ensuring progress and quality. Concluding the conference, General Nguyễn Tân Cương requested the Steering Committee and Organizing Committee of the celebration to make sure all activities to be held effectively and meaningfully with high quality, successfully demonstrating the unanimity, discipline, and modernity of the military, leaving deep impression on the masses. Lieutenant General Thái Đại Ngọc, Deputy Chief of the General Staff of the Vietnam People's Army, received Lieutenant General Cheng Khun, Deputy Director of Topography Department of the Defense Ministry of Cambodia in Hanoi on the afternoon of June the 10th. Lieutenant General Cheng Khun briefed Lieutenant General Thái Đại Ngọc on the results of his working session with the Department of Operations under the General Staff of the Vietnam People's Army. in which the two sides evaluated the cooperation results over the past time and discussed cooperation orientation for the time to come. The host highly appreciated the results of the working session, as was the role of the military cartography and topography sector in advising on training, education, and scientific research in each military. He suggested the two sides augment exchanges of professional experiences, specialized training, and support to each other in building capacity, qualifications, and effectively advise their respective defense leaders in this field. Coming up next, Mexican journalists speak highly of Vietnam's 100 years of revolutionary press. Pho, the soul of Vietnam, simmering Reup. As Vietnam marks the centennial of its Revolutionary Press Day, June the 21st, leading Mexican politicians and journalists are paying tribute to the extraordinary impact of Vietnamese press on the fight for independence and the ongoing mission of national development. Mexican Press Association Chairman Maurice Salom-George spoke of the epic Blood and Blossom saga of Vietnam's revolutionary press, noting how this tradition was forged in the fire of righteous revolution, born from sacrifice and the burning desire for freedom, becoming the unwavering voice of a people emerging triumphant from colonial darkness. Vietnamese revolutionary journalism doesn't just report on reality, it shapes it. It's been an integral part of the freedom struggle, much like Vietnam's own revolution led the way for liberation movements around the world. Veteran journalist Petro Gallert from Génération newspaper expressed his profound respect for how Vietnamese media has expanded its global reach during the age of globalization. Vietnam's revolutionary press stands out in the world media history. While so many other news organizations have sold out to commercial interest, Vietnamese journalism has kept its intellectual integrity and stayed connected to ordinary people's lives, all while supporting the nation's progress. Mexican political leaders and journalists see Vietnam's press as more than just an information pipeline between countries. It is a cultural bridge connecting peoples worldwide, linking hearts with minds, and weaving together past and presents. Pho, a dish imbued with Vietnamese soul, has long been not only a pride of national cuisine, but also a bond that connects overseas Vietnamese with their homeland. Recently, in Brussels, Belgium, a special seminar titled We Love Pho and the Vietnamese Culinary Map in Europe took place, attracting many Vietnamese from various countries sharing the love for pho. The scent of a heated pho bowl in Brussels transported Mr. Dinh Dinh Thuy back to his childhood mornings in Vietnam. Despite living in Ireland for 30 years, Mr. Thuy still craves a meal that captures the essence of Vietnamese cuisine. Pho is a basic identity that I refer to as a heritage of Vietnamese people living overseas in particular, as well as a heritage of Vietnamese cuisine in general. The seminar We Love Pho and the Vietnamese Culinary Map in Europe, commemorating the 35th anniversary of diplomatic ties between Vietnam and the EU, brought together Vietnamese abroad who share the love for pho. We Love Pho's most focused initiative is the Vietnamese Culinary Map in Europe, a tool that helps residents and tourists identify Vietnamese culinary venues around the continent. The map will be formally launched in September 2025. The campaign to bring 500,000 bowls of pho to the world has captured attention. Extending through 2028, it aims at popularizing Vietnamese culinary culture in one bowl at a time. Even though they live far from home, these Vietnamese youngsters retain a taste of their homeland. Vietnamese pho has extended throughout Europe, linking Vietnamese hearts in cities such as Brussels, Berlin, Stockholm, and Istanbul. And that's all for now. Remember, you can always watch the news again at QPVN.vn. Now, thank you for watching and hope to see you next time.